Hey guys, Ryan from the Melbourne Centre of Healing here. How do we approach someone who is suffering from an addiction? Whether that's we're treating someone with an addiction, whether it's our friend, our family member, our loved one. How do we approach and deal with someone when they're suffering from this condition? I often tell people it's less about what you say and more about the intention from where it's coming and the energy behind it. So there's two frameworks that I think we should always have when speaking to someone with an addiction. I'll give you the two frameworks. Number one, knowing that the addiction isn't the main problem, okay? The addiction isn't the main problem. The second framework is this person standing in front of me right now isn't broken. They are not broken, okay? They're the two frameworks. I'll get into each of them in a bit more depth. You can argue to whether both of these statements are true. We can debate about that. I personally believe they are absolutely true, but that is up for debate. But let's talk about how that can have an effect when dealing with someone with an addiction and how it can affect both us and them in a positive way. By thinking the addiction is the number one problem and that's the main issue in that person's life right now, it limits the help we can give, okay? What happens, we'll either look at it in one of two ways. If we think it's the main issue, we'll look at it, what they're doing as a choice or as a disease. So a lot of people, the main go-to for people is, why are you making these stupid choices? Stop taking the drug. For God's sake, can't you see you're hurting yourself and everyone around you? Cool, stop taking the drug. Hadn't thought of that one, for God's sake. Okay, so no, it's not a choice. The other thing people will say is, well, it's a disease. Okay, oh well, you've got this disease, it's a brain disease, this thing that we call addiction. Whilst that's a more humane response and it can open people to getting treatment in some way, unfortunately by labeling someone as having a disease, the conversation stops. We tell someone they've got a disease and we don't go any deeper with that. We don't start going into that person's individual story, their individual life. When we know that addiction isn't the main problem, we can start to go a little bit deeper. We can start to sit with people and say, what's right with the addiction? Okay? People will tell you all day long what's wrong with the addiction. Trust me, we know what's wrong with the addiction. We remind ourselves every goddamn day. The question isn't what's wrong with the addiction, it's what's right about it. Okay? Because the addiction is serving a purpose on an emotional and a subconscious level. We're able to go a bit deeper then and say, well, it's coming from pain. The addiction is coming from pain in some manner. And then we can sit with people and ask, well, if it's coming from pain, where does it hurt most? You know? What's happened to you that's made you get into this pain? Where's that coming from? And we can sit with someone non-judgmentally and try and make them feel as safe as possible to either not go into that if they don't want to, or be able to actually open up and go into their pain maybe for the first time ever. But by having this first framework of knowing that the addiction isn't the main problem, it opens up a conversation to go deeper with that person and have a real conversation and not just tell them to stop using drugs. That's the first one. The second one is seeing this person in front of you, oftentimes a loved one, maybe it's a client, seeing them and saying, this person is not broken. Okay, a lot of the time people will say, I've lost myself, I've lost who I am, I've fallen to pieces, I can't get things back together. Whilst it may seem that way, I strongly believe that as opposed to losing a part of ourself or falling to pieces, I believe the true essence of someone is and their true potential can never be lost. Okay, I'm yet to see it yet. I believe that can never be lost. I believe, however, that we cover it up. We cover it up with heavy emotions that we've accumulated throughout our life. We cover it up with these walls that we put around us, this BS. By BS, I mean belief systems. And in sense, instead of losing the essence of who we are or who we think we really are, we just can't see it because of all these walls and protections and coping mechanisms that we've put up around ourselves. So by looking at someone and knowing deep down or having that intention, that energy that they're not broken, we'll start to see someone's potential instead of their current situation. It is far better, in my opinion, to see someone's potential than their current situation if they're struggling. We want to see the best version of them. and have them see the possibility for them achieving that themselves. By seeing someone in their current position, we're getting down in the pit with them. Getting down in the pit with them doesn't help, okay? Secondly, if someone can feel that energy coming across, if someone can feel that you're not looking down on them as a broken person, but looking at their potential and sitting with them, it will non-judgmentally, it will make them feel safe. I'm mentioning this word safe again because it's so important. As soon as people feel safe and not judged, safe to be in their pain, safe to be in their trauma, safe to be in the current situation, which may externally look very, very bad, if you can make them feel safe, that is the first step to them healing. That is the ultimate first step, in my opinion, okay? So the whole goal of these two steps, these two frameworks, these two intentions, is to have someone that you're dealing with and sitting in front of feel safe and not judged. So I hope that works. When it comes to speaking with someone with an addiction, it's less about what we say, it's more about the intention behind it. And remember, the safer they feel, the better it's going to go.